this final episode, I've got to say it's been fantastic talking to you, Paul, but in this final episode, what we want to talk to Paul about is the ever-changing face of the culture in a business today, in any organisation. Why is it changing so rapidly, and how do we embrace it? So I guess that would be my first question. It's changing. What do you see changing so quickly? How do we get on board with that culture? From GDPR to human beings to how we recruit people. What are your thoughts, Paul?
Yeah, so let's start with company culture. Again, it's a topic I'm really passionate about. I think it was Steve Jobs who said culture eats strategy for breakfast. Yes, and I couldn't agree with him more. I think a culture within an organization is inherently linked to its sustainability. So to build a business that does something that's world class, but to do that consistently over time requires a phenomenal culture. And I also believe the workforce of today are looking for an awful lot more from the organisations they work for and choose to work for, than they ever have done. And culture for me is really important. I mean, to give you an understanding, when I joined Microsoft, the top 2 or 3 considerations for me were the culture of the organisation, and I think it massively underpins a business's ability to sustainably be world class. But also, it's got to transpire just writing values on a wall. You need people who come in and firmly buy into and believe in your mission and live your values. I always hire on cultural fit first. I think it's massively important to hire on cultural fit first. And if you get that right, then the magic happens. And what I mean by the magic is you have a group of highly engaged people who walk into the office every day and volunteer their best because they buy into and believe in what you as a business stand for. And if you get that right, it's incredibly powerful.
You're exactly right there, and I think there is one culture. So there's obviously the startup culture, which TechQuarters was a good few years ago, but then there's the culture of change.
Yep.
And I think those are the businesses that will win today. Even in the tech stratosphere, we've all got to change. The people have to change. And actually, on that note, if you think GDPR has just landed, big changes.
So I'd imagine like everyone else, I've got about 30 GDPR related emails in my inbox today from about 20 brands who I've apps with or subscribed to.
Yes.
Listen, for me, GDPR, whilst from the outside looking in, you may look at it as here comes some more legislation. Today it is a world-class standard for me, GDPR, that's been built by the EU and needed, really needed, totally. Because we've talked about tools and pace, and we've not got into much detail today around the use of artificial intelligence and big data and data sets and people's data and machine learning, all those other wonderful things. But with these tools and with the digital interaction and data we collect as businesses, comes a huge amount of responsibility in terms of how we use it and what we do with it. And this is back to the culture and the values of an organisation. I think that I truly believe that privacy is a human right. Yes. Fundamentally a human right. And actually, I want to work with organisations and buy from businesses and who reflect and embody that in everything they do. So, yes, it's compliance. Yes, it's legislation. Yes, I've got 30 emails to work through. But underneath all of that, there's an awful lot of goodness in the GDPR guidelines. And I think it's made people stop and think about responsibility and ethics with what I do with data. So for me, that's a really positive thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we've been working with GDPR probably 12 months now, something like that. We have our own solutions, but for us to embody that change at TechQuarters has meant that I've had to give multiple talks to the rest of my staff, explain to them that it's not just me changing, everybody's changing here, the way that we look after data. In fact, I actually got into selling GDPR solutions just because I thought it's going to change the whole organization and people need to understand about it, we need to evangelize about it, and here it is now, so I think that's just one of those cultural changes that we're going to go through. But with the digital age, there's new tools that we need to adopt. Yeah. And is it the youth of today, the businesses that are driving those businesses, and are the old guard suddenly going to be put out to pasture because of this, or
Yeah, I mean, back to a comment you made earlier that I think evolve or die is also inherently true to an individual's career as well. So I think if the desire to learn and the passion is gone, my recommendation would be go and do something else. If I'm being entirely honest with you. But I think we talked a lot about today's workers want more from their businesses. The tools they want have altered greatly as well, and picking tool sets that respect GDPR, but allow you to continue to collaborate with your customers and internally. Just the tooling that the workers today are looking for, the demands on the business as a work environment have increased hugely. Right? And again, it's all cloud driven. So as consumers, we've been using cloud apps for a long time, so our expectations in work are far greater. But I think culture is everything. It is the basis from which success is delivered.
It is. It's absolutely fascinating. I'm so excited. I read a poll the other day that something like 50% of the the zeros or the noughties, they would 50% of them would rather communicate over text rather than call somebody. And our guard, no, please, can we have a conversation? I want to talk to you. We just got to get on board. I think that's the message here.
And I think we have, and I guess the final point I'd make is we have choices to make as human beings. How we use this technology, how we implement this technology, both individually and at a societal level as well. What do we choose to do with the tools? That's a fundamental human choice. We have to make. And likewise, with regards to productivity, collaboration, culture, how you want to run your business. This for me is around technology augmenting and complementing us as human beings. Rather than replacing them. So that's a very easy thing to say, but it's actually quite a profound decision we have to make as a society in the next few years as to how we choose to use the tooling alongside us as humans. But more great topics for us to get our heads around in the industry over the next few years.
Paul, it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm sure everybody loved those episodes. So thank you
long
so
overdue.
much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Take care.